was awesome. And I'm so excited about this next guy. And I want to tell you about this, that I did something with this next guy that I've never done, that I don't do. But I got connected because somebody provided value to me in my life. A good friend of mine, John Rulin, who will be with us next week. You will learn things from John Rulin that I believe he does better than anybody else in the world. And that's provide value to others every day. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't just think about it, he does it. And 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, he said, you've got to meet John Gordon. Like, why do I know the name John Gordon? John Gordon. Oh, my wife and I do one word every year. My word this year is strength. That's the guy who wrote one word. An energy bus. And I just kept going on and on and on and on. I'm like, wow. And so Kim and I have a word every year. Do you have a word? I'm curious what your word is this year. Like, if you have a word, I want to know what your word for 2020 is, because I don't want you to give up on that word. Strength was the word that I needed to have for 2020. And the reason this challenge is going on, and I'm going to tell John this before I bring him on, is because I felt like I was supposed to provide not this strength, but this strength to people, mental capital to allow people to have the strength they need to get through this. This challenge was a direct correlation to my word for the year, which is strength. And so John connected us, and literally in a few minutes, I'm like, John Gordon, will you come into my prayer group and share that? I don't bring people into things easy. This was an instant connection, instant connection. This guy's the author of many books, New York Times bestselling author. He works with the Clemson Tigers, the Clemson, Chandler Bolt is so jealous that he knows Dabo Sweeney. He works with so many incredible people across the world, but I feel like he's got a core message today that I want him to share with you guys in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So Mr. John Gordon, welcome to the Rise Up World Challenge, my new friend.
Pete, great to be with you. Really great.
Did you get to hear that wisdom from Mr. Maxwell?
Man, that was awesome. I love John Maxwell, and we've shared the stage a bunch of times, and it's always fun to be with him, and I just hate having to follow him. You know what that means?
Well, I know what you're going to bring today is going to be amazing, man. And so give people just a little bit of a bio of yourself, but I want you to share with them what you shared with us a couple of weeks ago. And I know it's your newest book, and I also want to give out a ton of your books today. So at the end, I'm going to give out several of his books. One word will be one of those for sure, but I'm going to give out several books for people who have a takeaway here as well here in a second. So talk to us and give people a little background, but I want to hear what you told us in that group that everybody was like, wow, I needed to hear that.
Yeah, a number of years ago, I was really struggling. I was very negative. I lost my job during the dot-com crash. So what people are going through now, I experienced years ago. And my wife came up to me, she said, I love you, but I'm not going to spend my life with someone who makes me so miserable. You need to change. And I was really negative, and I was blaming her, and I was allowing the fear and the pressure and the stress of life to cause me to crumble from the inside out. And I knew in that moment that I needed to change. So I began this journey of working to become a more positive person. And every day I started taking these walks of gratitude. I read that you can't be stressed and thankful at the same time. So if you're feeling blessed, you won't be stressed. And when I was taking these walks of gratitude, I was creating a fertile mind that was ready for great things to happen, flooding your brain and body with these positive emotions that uplift you rather than the stress hormones that slowly drain and kill you. So by doing that every day, I was feeding the positive, weeding the negative. And then next thing you know, I started getting these ideas. And so I started writing these books, and I wrote The Energy Bus, and it came to me in 3.5 weeks. And I wrote that book, and that book would go on to change my life because a lot of people started to read that book. And then companies and sports teams and the Dodgers and the Rams and all these various teams, the Atlanta Falcons, Miami Heat, they would bring me to speak to them. A ton of companies and corporations would bring me in to speak. And as I did that, more and more people started reading the books. I started to speak more. And that's what I do now. Like, John, I want to add value. Like John said, I am here to add value. It was really funny. I was speaking at this event, and right before I'm about to go on stage, this guy came up to me. He was, the vice president of the company. He said, listen, he goes, the CEO really wanted John Maxwell, but we couldn't afford him. So we got you instead. And so that's, I'm a competitive guy. I was an athlete in college. I'm like, all right, that's it. I'm going to bring it today. And I just was so passionate. I brought it, and the guy came up to me afterwards. He said, the CEO was fired up. He loved your message, getting the books for everyone. He said he wanted John Maxwell, but he was glad he had you. So it was really funny that I followed John today as I was thinking about that story. But I just love what I get to do. And I want to add value today. I want to share the number one predictor and factor of success with people today and what that is and how we have to overcome the battle of our mind in order to achieve it.
Who wants to hear the number one factor for success? I mean, we got 4,000 people. Who wants to hear the number one factor for success? Guys, I would not lead these interviews every day. I could put myself on mute, stop my video, let them go. I wouldn't leave because I get to learn selfishly. I got my one nugget from John Maxwell that I'm going to apply in my life. And I'm about to get my one nugget from Mr. John Gordon that I'm about to apply in my life too. I don't know what it is, but I have to sit here, be present, and have no other distractions because I can't get traction if I'm distracted, like John said. So, John, I want to know that. And so share that and let's dive in, man.
Yeah, let's dive in. Here goes. It's not title. It's not wealth. It's not good looks. It's grit. Grit. The ability to work hard for a long period of time, to persevere, to overcome, to keep moving forward in the face of failure, rejection, and adversity. We know that grit is what drives us and moves us forward. But the question is, Pete, what drives us? Like, what drives grit? And here's what drives grit. It starts and is inspired by vision and purpose. If you can see it, you will create it. If you have a vision, you also have the power to make it happen. Right now, we have a lot of people whose goals have been sabotaged. They've lost their goals based on the economy, based on what's going on, and they're not going to make their numbers this year. They're not going to hit the targets they wanted to hit. Don't live for your goals. Live for your vision. Allow your vision right now to fuel you on this journey because this vision will keep you going through the adversity and the struggles and the challenge. For me, I had a vision a number of years ago, and it was to inspire and encourage as many people as possible, one person at a time. And so I wrote The Energy Bus, rejected by over 30 publishers. I was told to give up, but I couldn't give up because I had this vision. I wanted to encourage people. So I kept on hoping, kept on dreaming, kept on praying. And finally, John Wiley & Sons agreed to publish the book. I was so excited. I asked a friend, what should I do? He said, pray. So I prayed for it to be a bestseller. It came out, it was a bestseller in Korea. I learned you have to be specific with your prayers. It was like this huge hit in South Korea, not North Korea, but this huge hit in South Korea. But not one bookstore in the United States would carry the book. So I decided to go on a 28-city tour, paid for myself. I went from city to city, sharing the message in the book. We had 5 people in one city, 10 people in another, 20 in another. The most people we had were 100 people in Des Moines, Iowa. They thought Jeff Gordon was coming. That's why they showed up. I tell you, I got back. It wasn't a great tour. It wasn't successful. But I knew that I had this vision, and I just had to live it every day. I was dejected. The tour didn't go well, but I knew I just had to show up and live this vision. Here we are now, 13 years later. That book has gone on to sell over 2 million copies. And now I get to do this work and change the world. And I tell people, this is my vision. I'm not telling you this because I want you to be impressed with me. I don't think I'm impressive. I tell you this because I want you to look inside yourself. What is your vision? What is it that you truly want right now? This is a great time to really think about, how can I learn from this experience? How can I grow from it? And what do I want now? What do I want to build and what do I want to create? And then what is the purpose behind that, right? It's inspired by vision and purpose. We don't get burned out because of what we do. We get burned out because we forget why we do it. So we need this vision of where we're going. We need this bigger purpose of why we're going there. And then we need the Zoom focus actions every day to realize the big picture. So it's inspired by that. Grit is inspired by vision and purpose, but it's also fueled by optimism and belief. We have to stay positive on this journey because we have a vision, but we're getting hit right now with adversity and struggles and negativity and fear and doubt. And we have to stay positive. That's the key right now through all of this. It sounds Pollyanna, but it really is the key. It's not about seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. It's knowing that you have the power to overcome the thorns. And Duke University did a study on optimists, and they found that they worked harder, got paid more, and were more likely to succeed in business and sports. And what they found was that because they believed in a brighter and better future, they then took the actions necessary to create it. It became a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so we have to stay positive by feeding the mind, our body, our soul every day so that we can feed others. Because if you don't have it, you can't share it. And the best advice I ever heard, I told you this the other day, is from Dr. James Gills, the only person on the planet to complete 6 double Ironman triathlons. That's double Ironman, which means you do an Ironman, and then a day later you do another one. And the last time he did it, he was 59 years old. He was asked how he did it. He said this: I've learned to talk to myself instead of listen to myself. He said, if I listen to myself, I hear all the fear, all the doubt, all the negativity. But if I talk to myself, I could feed myself with the words and the encouragement that I need to keep on moving forward. I'm sure a lot of us need to talk to ourselves instead of listen to ourselves. I know I do. I'm a pessimistic optimist, right? Early on, I got really down about this, but then I was talking to myself. And I had this eternal hope that somehow, some way, that we're going to come out of this, that we're going to be okay. I'm worried about others. I'm worried about people who are fearful right now, who are dealing with anxiety and isolation and depression. And I'm thinking about those people. And for those who are struggling, I want you to know this. For any of us who are struggling, your negative thoughts are not coming from you. How do I know? You would never choose to have a negative thought. Think about that. You would never choose a negative thought. It's not coming from you. Do you choose your dreams? Do you choose your nightmares when you're sleeping? No, thoughts are always coming in. No one has ever found a thought inside your brain. So here's the key. When those negative thoughts come in, don't believe the lies that they tell. Don't believe the negative thoughts that sabotage you, that tell you that you're not good enough, that you won't be successful, that you're going to be stuck right here, that the future is not bright. Instead, speak truth to those lies. Speak truth and then walk in that truth, walk in that power, knowing that you have the power to overcome the challenges you are facing. I told Pete the other day and his team, and it's important for you to know this, there are 5 Ds that will sabotage us. And they are doubt, distortion, which are lies, discouragement, we don't give up because it's hard, we give up because we get discouraged, distraction, we get caught up in all the distractions instead of what truly matters most. John talked about that, our values, what matters most. When you have clarity, clarity leads to focus, action, and then division. And the word anxious actually means divided. When we are anxious, we feel divided. We feel separate from ourselves, separate from our team and our family, separate from God spiritually. And so it's about uniting back to self. It's about encouraging yourself every day, right? Encourage yourself. When you get up, you could say, I'm going to rise and shine or rise and whine. And that's going to determine the kind of day you have. And I mean rise and whine, not W-I-N-E. We don't want to W-I-N-E, rise and whine. We don't want that. We want to rise and shine. You can focus on what you get to do every day instead of what you have to do. And you can make sure that you tune out the negative voices that are out there, that are coming at you from the media and the world. Gandhi said, I will not let anyone walk through my mind with their dirty feet, and neither should you. We have to make sure that we are winning the battle of our mind because that keeps us going. That's the grit that drives us forward. We have the vision of where we want to go. We have this optimism and belief that causes us to continue to move forward through challenges and adversity. And we know right now that stars shine the brightest in the darkness, right? And positive people will shine the most through adversity. And then it's driven by love. Last thing I want to share with you, it's driven by love. Like love is what drives grit. If you love it, you won't quit when everyone said you should. When you love it, you'll keep on moving forward towards it. If you love it, you'll work to be great at it. If you don't love it, you will give up. So it's about bringing forth the love that we have to create what we want to create right now during this time. Don't give up. Focus on your love, and that love will drive you. Pavarotti, the famous opera singer, was asked about his discipline, how he had such great discipline. He said, people think it's discipline. It's not discipline. It's devotion. He was so devoted to his craft that drove his discipline. He had a love for what he was producing. I love my wife and my family. So right now I am devoted to them. I love my team. I am devoted to them. I haven't laid off anyone on my team either. We are devoted to our team, finding ways to succeed and to thrive right now in this time, just to make it through so we can thrive on the other side of this, right? But it's that love that drives us. And what I love about love is that it is the antidote to fear. Why? Because love is what casts out fear. Love casts out fear. So if you love it, you won't fear it. A few years ago, I had a field goal kicker come to me in the NFL, and it was his second year. And it was on ESPN that he might get cut from this team. It was all over ESPN. They're all talking about him getting cut. Poor guy. So he reached out. We started talking. I said, tell me about your rookie season. He said, I was loving it. I was living my dream. I was in the NFL. I said, how'd you do? He said, I did amazing. Like he had a great rookie year. This was his second year. He was really struggling. I said, tell me about this year. Oh, I missed a couple of kicks during preseason. Don't want to let the team down. Don't want to let coach down. Don't want to lose what I have. He was so full of fear. I reminded him that love is what casts out fear. And all he has to do is get back to loving it. And if he loves it, he won't fear it. And right now, that's what we have to do. If we love what we do, we love our family, and we focus on loving others and serving others and showing others that we care about them. Love, serve, care. If we love, serve, and care, fear will have no power over us. We will have the grit because of the love to continue to move forward towards our vision, towards our goals, towards our success, towards our purpose, to create a better life for us, our team, our community, and ultimately our world. And it's always done from the inside out, which we could talk about at the end, but inside out is how we create from who we are on the inside. The essence of who we are creates the success that we have on the outside. So grit always comes from within.
Man, I mean, I heard this a couple of days ago. Guys, I feel so full right now. It is so good. It is so good. So you said doubt, you said distortion, you said discouragement, you said distraction, you said division.
Those are the 5 Ds that sabotage us.
That's what sabotages us. And the counter to them is love. Is there a counter to them?
Yeah, so if in each one, right? So in doubt, it's trust.
Okay.
In distortion, the lies, it's about speaking truth to those lies. And the truth is, you're here for a reason. The truth is, you're here to do something great. There is greatness inside of you. That is truth. God made you in his likeness and image. So you are here to do great things. And the reason why we all want to be great, because we know deep down that there is greatness within us. We have this voice that says you're not great, right? And so that's the battle of the mind and the soul that's going on all the time. And so what you want to do is speak truth to those lies. And then instead of discouragement, you want to always encourage yourself, encourage others. In the distraction, you want to focus on what matters most. There's a saying that if the devil won't make you bad, he'll make you busy. So maybe you're not bad, but you get focused on all the things that don't matter, right? Every day you come into work, every day you're in your home now, right? And there's all these distractions going on. And so you're not doing anything wrong, but you're not really being productive. You're not focused on what you're really here to do, to live your purpose. And right now you can become less or you can become more. We don't want to focus on what we've lost right now. We have to focus on what we will gain. What we gain during this time to grow to be all that we're meant to be. So you want to focus on that instead of the distractions. And then division, the antidote to division is unity and love, right? Unite back to oneself and love. And, you know, I wasn't always a believer or a Christian, right? So I got baptized at 35 years old. For years, I was grew up Jewish. Mom was Jewish. Dad was stepfather, Italian, New York City cop, right? Jewish Italian family, a lot of food, a lot of guilt. And so my dad was shot all the time as an undercover narcotic. So he wasn't very positive. We never went to temple, never went to church. And then for years, I was a seeker, a new ager, practiced Buddhism, studied Buddhism. But then Jesus got a hold of my life and changed me from the inside out. And what I realized was what happened in the garden, you got reconciled on the cross. And that's what Easter's all about. And so the separation of man from God was then reconciled through Jesus, uniting man back to God, man and women, right? Back to God through himself. And so unity is the answer to division. And so for me, love wins. Love and unity wins. And in that love, we walk in faith, we walk in power, we walk in truth. And through that, we're able to overcome all the obstacles and challenges that we face in this world. And we're all facing them right now. I'm facing them. But as John said, when you're in a crisis, it tests who you are. And I got to tell you, years ago, when I hit my crisis and I lost my job, I didn't do well. I failed that test. I mean, I really failed that test. But guess what? It prepared me for this moment where I am stronger, where I have faith. Oh, I want people to know this, that your faith in God doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. And that's the thing. You now have the strength to overcome. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do in this work. And when I speak to companies, I don't share my faith. You know, when I speak to sports teams, I don't always share it unless people ask. But it does drive who I am and what I do. And I think it's important because you have to have that strength and some internal compass that guides you on your true north to really ultimately make a difference, to serve others, to really get through this tough time. And the only way to do that is through relationships and together. And that's why I love what you're doing. The fact that you're doing this, Pete, is incredible to bring people together, such unity, such an opportunity for people to come together and there's strength in numbers to support each other. Let's not make this something where we all watch. Let's make this something where we actually learn and grow and connect to each other through this, because the genius is always in the audience. It's not me speaking. It's always in the audience and what you're sharing with each other in those comments. That's what I know.
Yeah, dude, this is so good, everybody. And so, hey, listen, I couldn't believe how I'm connected to, this is the Bible of mine that John signed. And then I have one word over here that Kim and I read like 3 years ago, and have been doing it every year. So I want to give out 25 one-word books because it's been meaningful in my life. What's another one that's relevant right now, John, that would really help serve people?
I would love to donate books to give The Carpenter and also The Coffee Bean. And I think The Coffee Bean is so relevant right now because it's about inside out, right? We're in this big pot of boiling hot water. And when you put a carrot into hot water, what happens? It gets weakened and softened. You put an egg into hot water, what happens? It gets hardened, it gets bitter and angry. Right now, we can get bitter and angry, or we can get weak and allow the pressure to crush us, or you can be like the coffee bean. Put the coffee bean into boiling hot water, it transforms the water into coffee. We don't even call it water anymore. We give it a new name. It's called coffee. And so that coffee bean transforms its environment from the inside out. So don't allow your circumstances to alter your faith. Allow your faith to alter your circumstances. And as we do that, we'll be the coffee bean. So I want that message to be shared. I'll donate them for you to give away. And The Carpenter is really about the greatest success strategies of all. It's about loving, serving, caring, building with optimism, and overcoming these challenges. And it's such a relevant message for right now as you want to grow your business.
Dude, I love that. And so listen, I want 25 of you right now to put, I'm about to do our homework assignment, but I want 25 of you to tell me the biggest takeaway from John, because this has been so unbelievable today with the double Johns, which is like, now it's like, it's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 = a dozen here for me today. And so I want to know your biggest takeaway. Jed, I want us to give away 25 one words, and then we'll give away another 25 of The Carpenter and Coffee Bean as well, which I'm stoked to be able to give to everybody. John, I know you're going to go join us backstage. Final thoughts before I bring us to a full wrap today. Final thoughts for everybody.
Final thoughts is when we show up, we talked about grit, right? I want you to know grit is inside you. People often think, hey, can we develop grit? No, you already had grit. You've always had it. When you were a baby and learned to walk, it was that grit that kept you going when you got knocked down. So it's already in you. And so allow that grit to come out through your optimism and your belief, your vision and your purpose, and your love that drives you, and the purpose that sustains you through the days that you don't want to get up. Some days we don't want to be very positive, but that purpose will give us something to be positive about. And ultimately, when we make it about serving others, we have to get up for them. We have to get up to make the lives of others better. And that always gives us a reason to get up ourselves. So thank you for all that you do, everyone out there. Pete, thanks for allowing me to share. What an honor to be with you today and to be able to follow John Maxwell. And I'm just really thankful to be with y'all. And if I can ever help in any way, I'm here to serve, right? We are here to give, not take. So if I can ever help anyone, I'm here to serve.
Dude, John, thank you, everybody. Give it up for Mr. John Gordon in the comments. Thank you, man. Hang out. We're going backstage in a minute. In a minute.